So, I'm having a discussion with a friend about creating a Nature Cleric. And when looking at the skills and charisma for stats, I pointed out that the Nature Cleric is allowed heavy armor. So, strength at 15 should automatically be there. Charisma, because this is a person living in nature, 8. And, uh, you know, dex of 10 or 12, constitution of 16, and then 16 wisdom, intelligence, wherever. I guess a 12 or 14. And that is because of ritual caster as for wizard spells. And in discussing this character, I pointed out how when you're thinking of the skills for this Nature Cleric, religion, yes; medicine, yes; nature, yes; wisdom, no; or survival, no. And the reason why nothing to survival is a cleric is a servant of a god, a deity. And in the case of like say a human or halfling, the more mortal races, being a cleric, they understand that once I make that vow, so now my life is dedicated towards this deity, and all what time I have on this plane, in my existence, is to serve this deity, and the god, the deity, is aware of that as well. So the question is like, well, why isn't the deity answering my prayers? It's like, well, because what is the deity doing? What are they engaged in at that moment, at that time? And it's like, oh, they are saving somebody from whatever peril, and and helping their agents to achieve whatever goals they are, or whatever sort of conflicts that are there that are important to the deity and the nature of the cosmos. So for a cleric, they don't need survival because they don't need to waste their time looking at the ground trying to figure out which way to go. They have whatever needs to be done either comes to them, or an animal or a servant for the Nature Cleric takes them to it, to where the action is, where they are needed. So that's why to me it's like you wouldn't take survival, and one way to think of clerics in general is they have a finite sort of service towards the deity. The deity knows this is going to I need you working to a point. I know what you're capable of, and so I'm going to keep you fighting to the point where you've used yourself up in a glorious way. Now we can transition you to the next level. So that's another thing I'm going to need to research to understand about the D&D cosmos. So it's something that I'm learning as a dungeon master, and what are, because I felt that it's daunting to understand and the perspective of the gods and the deities of the Dungeons and Dragons universe, because you have to take on that role. You have to understand what is the deity doing, what are they engaging in, and what can they oversee. And here I have to give a shout out to AJ Pickett and his the gods, and what powers they do have. It's like it's a great way to sort of give myself a concrete foundation to understand what's happening, what can these super powerful beings with all these rules of the universe, how do they operate? Okay. So with that in mind, so as myself, the Dungeon Master, I have, portraying the deity of, oh man, of, portraying the deity of these foot soldiers, because the weird hand gesture I do. Anyways, these foot soldiers, because the paladins are the foot soldiers of the deity. The zealots are the foot soldiers of the deity. The clerics are agents of the deity. So, to the dungeon master, as far as like the relationship with the cleric, how am I treating this player and this character that they have? Like, what are they going to be doing? Keep in mind that I'm not wasting their time. They're not wasting their time. When they wake, they have things to do. To the point where they're exhausted, and they can sleep, and then they can rest. And that was just some ideas I thought about, like, sharing and relating to everybody about what is the cleric and the relationship with the deity, and so in the world building, these different people. Yeah, it's hard esoteric stuff for me to wrap my head around. Because of the world building and understanding. All right, so the planes of existence. Magic is interacting with the physical plane. The religions interfacing, interacting with the physical plane, etc., etc. It's like, okay, so there's a consciousness, I guess, behind these different things. So, and how will that consciousness cause reality to be formed? And thus the players are engaged in it. So, it's challenging stuff. So, hope you guys thought this is interesting. So, but yeah, having a brawny woodsman is your nature cleric, living out in the woods. Yeah, just no personality. They're just, where do you need me to go? What am I doing?